can take a Khalistani's life, but if you take his Canada visa, immigration will sink the UK. This unbridled immigration, people coming in boats, people just entering the UK any way they can, is going to sink the UK. And it's also giving absolutely unwise of the Americans, because China earned money from the United States of America. Significant part of the Chinese wealth is American money. Jan friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues. Like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. And before I proceed, ladies and gentlemen, I have a special request for you today. And the request is that we have a website called www.chanakyaforum. Log on to chanakyaforum.com and you can read the latest articles of the day written by top-end specialists in their field. We don't have any journalists with us. There is nobody who's writing as a person who's not specifically trained in a certain sort of a field, or somebody who's not an expert. We don't have people like that. We have people writing for us who are the best in class, people with decades of experience in their field, and they write articles for us, ladies and gentlemen. We also have our mobile phone apps, which I will request you to download. We have, on Apple, we have it on Android. So please go and download those apps and read these fantastic articles free of cost, absolutely, and tell us what do you feel about our app and how can we improve it further. Now, coming to the first news of the day, Hamas made a killing in more ways than one. You all know about what Hamas did on the 7th of October. Hamas killed 1,400 Israelis, most of them, 99% of them, innocent civilians who were absolutely unarmed. They just went and killed everybody. But before that, Hamas played the Israeli stock market. Here is news, sad, interesting, but also a huge lesson in what is actually economic terrorism. Days before October 7th Hamas attack, there was a notable increase in bets against the value of Israeli companies. Please hear this very carefully. Days before the October 7th attacks, there was a notable increase in bets against the value of Israeli companies. So they bet against Israeli companies that were doing pretty well in the stock market. They bet against them, right? The research paper reveals that the bets against the MSCI Israel Exchange Traded Fund in days leading up to the October 7th attack was significantly higher than the levels of short selling observed during COVID-19 pandemic, the 2014 Israel-Gaza war, and the 2008 global financial crisis. So they were significantly higher than during COVID times, right? The 2014 Israel-Gaza war and also the 2008 global financial crisis. This suggests that some traders might have possessed advanced knowledge of the impending terror attack and capitalized on it. The preliminary findings come from law professors at Columbia University and New York University. Now, of course, Israel is denying these charges, and Israel is saying that these charges are not true. So, ladies and gentlemen, do you remember the Hindenburg attack on the Adani Group? At that time, Gautam Adani was the second richest person in the world. And then suddenly, because of a report, unsubstantiated, Adani stocks started crashing. And this is exactly what the Supreme Court said when people like Prashant Bhushan went to the Supreme Court and said, hey, Hindenburg has said this and this. They went and argued in the Supreme Court, take action against Adani, take action against Adani. Supreme Court said, where is the proof? Show us the proof and we'll take action. You just want us to take action basis a media report. How does that work? And Prashant Bhushan had no answer. So, you see, this is how short selling works. This is essentially what Hamas did. I'm not saying that both these, there is no equivalence here. And I'm not even saying that there is an equivalence. All I'm saying is that what Hamas did, if it did that, this is a clear case of economic terrorism. You knew that there was going to be an attack. You took positions significantly lower. The attacks happened. You made money. This is what they did. So, now the Israelis are denying it and they're trying to find out what actually happened. But, the events leading to the attack on the Israeli stock exchange point out to the fact that somebody knew something bad was going to happen and somebody took advantage of that. Now, in a blow for China, Apple prefers India to manufacture batteries for the next generation iPhone 16. Now, this is a report, and they say this is a major blow for Chinese manufacturing prowess. Apple is looking towards India to power its next generation iPhones, according to a Financial Times report. Now, Financial Times says that Apple wants India to make the next generation iPhone, that is iPhone 16, The battery of the iPhone 16 will now be made in India. Why have they decided to move out of China? Was China making bad batteries? I don't think so. So what is the, what was the trigger for this change? Why did Apple all of a sudden say, hey, we want to move out of China. We'll move out in bits and pieces, yeah. We'll say that, okay, initially only 10% of the production goes to India. Next year, 25% of the production. So over a period of 5-7 years, everything moves out of China. And why would Apple say that? What is the trigger for Apple to say that? I think it is now that the Americans have realized that it was unwise of them to put all their eggs in one basket, and that basket is China. Absolutely unwise of the Americans, because China earned money from the United States of America. Significant part of the Chinese wealth is American money. The way they've, made their money work for them, and the way they've taken advantage, the way they've stolen intellectual property from America and from Europe. And they build their economy around this theft, this contract manufacturing also. One is theft, one is contract manufacturing, separate issues, but that is how China made its money. And today China is the monster which wants to eat, the same person who made China big and strong, that is America. And today the Americans have realized that the best way to punish China is not through military means. The best way to punish China is through economic means. So we talk about supply chain resilience, and we talk about how Apple, you see, so in let us say this is a phone. Let's say this is a phone, all right? So in this phone, there will be hundreds of screws and wires and a few processors and cameras and the body casing and so many parts, software, hardware, and this entire ecosystem, right? This entire ecosystem, so is not made in one place. So there are OEMs and there are manufacturers otherwise who will make these small little bits, even for cars, for washing machines, for anything. So even the rubber lining of the doors in cars, if you've seen, they have this thick rubber lining, the doors. That is not made by the car manufacturer. That rubber lining is made by somebody else. The steering is made by somebody else. The tires are probably made by Goodyear or Michelin or MRF or anybody else. So everything is made by somebody else, and this is all brought together. Of course, the engine is proprietary and some of the other things are proprietary. Maybe the body is also made by the manufacturer, but there are so many things that go into the body. That there are miles of wiring inside a car. Where did that wiring come from? Maybe the battery is not made by the manufacturer. Every car has a battery. Where did the battery come from? Exide or some other company like that? So what powers a vehicle? Everything comes from a different location. This entire thing is called a supply chain. And this is exactly what both India and America seek to disrupt. It's a very delicate ecosystem, the supply chain thing. And it's very important. If you manage to disrupt a country's supply chain, then the entire edifice comes crashing down. This is how it happens, ladies and gentlemen. So now, the mere idea that a part of manufacturing of Apple iPhone 15 happened in India was enough to send shockwaves, down China's spine. And then comes insult on injury, where Apple says that, okay, from next year onwards, the battery we're shifting out. And a battery is a significant part of any mobile phone. So that's shifting out. China is not happy. Tesla has already said that within the next 2 years, they'll start manufacturing in India. So slowly and slowly, what America is doing is that all the companies, especially, I think 2-3 months back, the Americans passed a legislation that anything that is directly to do with America's national security, American companies can no longer partner with Chinese companies. So maybe telecom and maybe stuff like servers and data centers, all these are national security things. So it's going to be very, very difficult for American companies to partner with Chinese companies. It's still happening. And I'm not saying China is out of the picture. No, not by a long margin. You see, this dependence on China was built up over decades. So nobody can snap their fingers and say, okay, from tomorrow, no China. We can't do it. Indians can't do it. The Americans can't do it. Nobody can do it. But over a period of time, we can. And the damage is now starting to show. China's economy is weakening. China's demographic dividend is dead. The average Chinese is 10 years older to the average Indian. while China's manufacturing facilities are much better than India's, but India is fast catching up. And now everybody, what India has been able to communicate very subtly to the world, and India has never said this openly. India has never, Dr. Jaishankar or Prime Minister Modi, they have never said this very openly, but there is a subtle suggestion, right? That when you partner, when you speak so much about democracy, right? You cannot say that we are a democracy. Herein, we implies the Western countries, especially the United States of America. You can't say that we are a democracy. We are a liberal society. We believe in free speech. However, when it is profitable, we will engage with a society which has no freedom of speech, it has no democracy, and is ruled by a crazy, mad dictator like Xi Jinping. You can't do that. Now, India has never said this. Not a word. But it has been implied. And if you read between the lines, you can see how many times it has been implied and then amplified also. And people have this understanding now, the West has started to understand. You keep on saying democracy, 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 right? Anything. You have these surveys coming up from the United States of America. Oh, India is so many steps down in democracy. And this is very bad and India must do something about it. Where is China? China is way down at the bottom. And if China is way down at the bottom, why do you have trillions of dollars of business with China? Why should all these Western countries that take so much of pride in being liberal democracies, true democracies, why should they deal with a mad dictator like Xi Jinping or a country like China? Why should they do that? Which only means that when it comes to profits, the West has a separate value system. The day India starts giving them that kind of profit, they'll shut up. But India is not a dictatorship. India is a democracy. We have elections. We have the rule of law. So this is what India has been, this is my understanding of the situation. Though again I reiterate, Dr. Jaishankar has never said this. Prime Minister Modi has never said this to anybody. And these are things not said. But yes, these are things that are implied. And I think it's working. And in the last news of the day, you have Robert Jenrick. Robert Jenrick is the immigration minister in the UK, or was the immigration minister. And Robert Jenrick says, he said stronger protections were needed to end the merry-go-round of legal challenges which risk paralyzing this scheme. The government said the bill, unveiled later, made it clear in UK law Rwanda was a safe country for asylum seekers, but it stops short of what some on the Tory right were demanding. In his resignation to Rishi Sunak, Mr. Jenrick said that the Prime Minister had moved towards my opinion. Nevertheless, I am unable to take any currently proposed legislation through the Commons, as I do not believe it provides us with the best possible chance of success. Mr. Jenrick added that the bill was a triumph of hope over experience. Now, what is this about? Essentially, Rishi Sunak has come down very hard on illegal immigration. And I think Rishi Sunak is wrong, because he should come down very hard on immigration as such. I'll tell you what has happened, ladies and gentlemen. All these countries, Morocco, so I'll mention countries and then I'll mention a bunch of people separately, because they're not a country, but they're a bunch of lunatics. So countries like Morocco, countries like Pakistan and Lebanon and Palestine and Yemen and Syria, these 8-10 countries, Muslim countries, most of them, they have a habit, the people have a habit of lying and getting asylum. They will lie. And this is exactly this bunch of lunatics that I was talking about, Khalistanis. They have learned from their Pakistani friends. Lie about everything. Just lie, cheat, steal, thieve. And it's okay in their system, in their culture, in the Khalistani so-called ecosystem to do that stuff. So what do? They get fake certificates by Indian politicians, right? From Punjab mostly. They get fake certificates, they give money, they get fake certificates that, okay, this man was against India's central government's policies and hence he's being harassed and he fears for his life and stuff like that. And they know what pushes the buttons of the white people. Yeah, these guys know. They're very smart. They will just say that, okay, this guy is seeking asylum because he's a gay activist. You know, he's a gay activist and people in India want to kill him because it is criminal to be gay in India. Right? They'll make up stuff like that. They'll just, he was going to have an intercaste marriage, but people are out to kill him. And people have been given asylum in the West because they're just stupid. Some people in the West, I'm not talking about all the Westerners, but some people are just plain stupid. They still don't know that before the government of India abrogated 370, long before that they had decriminalized 377. Homosexuality in India is not an offense. Intercaste marriages were never an offense in India. Yes, some people may have reservations, but the way India is growing, it's becoming more of a norm. More of a norm. People choose their partners irrespective of whichever caste or whichever ethnicity they might belong to. Whoever they are comfortable with, they marry. But the problem is that it's very easy to sell these narratives about India abroad. And people go and people then seek citizenship and they seek asylum status, etc. And this is exactly what Rishi Sunak is saying. But what Rishi Sunak is doing is that they had this bill in their parliament in which they said that illegal immigrants should be sent back to Rwanda because we believe that they are safe in Rwanda. So there's this African country, Rwanda, we'll send them to Rwanda. Now, a lot of people disagreed. So what they did was they watered down this bill and they left loopholes. And the problem, ladies and gentlemen, with loopholes is that any illegal immigrant can go to court and say that, I'm being discriminated against. But the courts don't make the law. Neither in India nor in the UK. The courts don't make the law. The courts interpret the law. The lawmakers, the politicians make laws. Right? And this is exactly what the gentleman Robert Jenrick is saying. Robert Jenrick is saying that this law is not strong enough to achieve our aims. And this is exactly what Suella Braverman was saying, the former Home Secretary. And Rishi Sunak sacked her. Big mistake on his part. Big mistake. This immigration thing is going to sink the UK. Let me tell you. Immigration will sink the UK. This unbridled immigration, people coming in boats, people just entering the UK any way they can, is going to sink the UK. And it's also giving a bad name to those people who are, like for example, the Indians. There are a lot of Indian immigrants. But have you heard of any Indian involved in a terror attack? Please let me know. Please educate me. Any Indian who's involved in a terror attack. All-time low crime. Some of the highest, I'm talking across the world, okay, including the US, Canada, some of the highest taxpayers, some of the highest earners, the most law-abiding people who mix up very easily, people who have white friends, who have black friends, people who have friends from all ethnicities, people who do not make ghettos, right? And if there is a little India, it's probably about food, because I know how Indians are crazy about their own food. That's it. But we don't have Sharia zones. Indians will not make these Sharia kinds of zones where you'll say that the local population is not allowed. No. If an Indian goes to the UK, for example, he understands that initially he's a guest there. Tomorrow he might become a citizen and have equal rights, but the fact of the matter is he's gone as a guest. And you cannot abuse hospitality. It's not done in our culture. But when Palestinians or Moroccans or anybody else, they behave like lunatics, what does the common Englishman think? He thinks that all immigrants are like that. And he perhaps does not realize, that there are Indians there who are the finest of the lot, the best doctors, the best scientists, the best engineers, the best academicians, the best students. They're the Indians. No crime, no hatred, no violence, mixing around with everybody. That is how you should be. They're giving Indians a bad name. They're giving other communities a bad name. And this is exactly why they need to come down very hard, exceptionally hard on this. There can be no mercy in this. Because people will lie. They will say anything. Look at Khalistanis, yeah? They lie all the day just to get into... You can take a Khalistani's life. But if you take his Canada visa, he will die. You take away his heart and his brain or whatever little, that popcorn that he calls a brain. You can take away everything. You can take away his liver, his kidneys, everything. He will live. But if you take away a Khalistani's visa, He will not live for a second because he lives for that Canadian visa. He lives for that American visa. That is what his aspiration in life is. For that, he is willing to betray his country. He is willing to lie, cheat, thieve, steal, sell drugs, murder, anything to get that priceless so-called visa, which is why it's very important. And I call upon, it's my request to all the Western countries, stop this mad nonsense that is happening in your country. They will sink your country. This unbridled illegal immigration, it will sink your country. And it will sink your country very soon. There will be a day when you will be outnumbered. And your family will be afraid of coming out of their houses in the evening. They will be afraid to walk the streets because they know that these guys are waiting somewhere in the darkness. Know who you are inviting into your country. Of course, you must have immigrants in your country. Of course, UK must have immigrants, America must have. Say that the best of people in the world we will invite to become British citizens. So are you a rocket scientist? Are you a top-class engineer? Let's say from India. Are you from a top-class engineering institute like the IIT? Are you from the Indian Institute of Management? Are you from ISB Hyderabad? Right? Or are you a top-shot management guy from one of these IIMs? Or are you a top PhD who's written papers? You're welcome. Yeah, we'll welcome you at the airport. We'll welcome you. We'll give you a house. We'll give you money. But if you're worth it, only if you're worth it, then you are invited. That should be the logic. Rather than saying that, hey, our heart bleeds for everybody, just come and settle down here. They'll all come here. And then UK will become another Somalia. Sooner than later. So ladies and gentlemen, with this, I come to the end of my video today. And we have 2 comments here. Questions come comments. And this is from Eligroff. I don't know what the gentleman or lady's name is because it's not written here, but you don't talk good things about Pakistan, and I think I agree with you. Sometimes I'm informed, and that helps to solidify my opinions about things. Thank you, sir, for opening my eyes about the atrocities of that nation. Thank you from Lincoln City, Oregon. Thank you very much for writing, and yeah, Pakistan is a basket case, and I will keep on saying that Pakistan is a basket case till the time they improve. Raja Gopal. America treated Zelensky as a very special person, then pulled the rug under his feet. A recurring lesson for all countries trusting America. Absolutely agree with you, sir. Absolutely agree. Americans have ditched everybody. We understand that there are no friends as far as, foreign policy is concerned, or where you have national interest actually. Not foreign policy, but national interest. Where national interest is concerned, you don't have any friends, you look after your own interests. That much is fine. Every country does that. India does that. China does that. Russia does that. Canada, any country in the world will do that. The problem is that when you make promises to people publicly and then you walk out. You see, people can understand interest. People can understand selfishness. But there is a very prominent line that separates selfishness from betrayal. Betrayal, people don't forgive. People don't understand. I think India should be very wary while dealing with the United States of America. For all their talk or about democracy, free speech, liberal values, America has supported the worst dictators in the world. They've waged wars. They've gone back on their promises. And while I have nothing but love and admiration for the American people, I have nothing but love and admiration for American culture, I don't trust American politicians. I think they're the worst of the lot. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching this video. And if you like this video, press the like button and also write in the comment section what you liked about this video. And don't forget to download our mobile phone applications. All right? Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata Ki Jai.